In 1958, a bulldozer operator in Northern California found something in the mud that shouldn't have been there. A footprint, 16 inches long, 5 toes, and it was fresh. He made a plaster cast of it. By the time the story hit the newspapers, the legend had a name: Bigfoot. Hi, I'm Mads, and this is Mads Adventures, where we chase down mysteries, legends, and discoveries the world doesn't talk about enough. Today we're heading into the woods after the most famous cryptid in America. Long before Bigfoot was a headline, he already had 100 other names. Sasquatch, from the Halakene word Saskets, used by indigenous peoples of the Pacific Northwest for generations before any settler picked up a camera, or presumably a decent pair of hiking boots. So the creature wasn't new in 1958. What was new was the marketing. That footprint didn't just make headlines, it gave a folk legend a media agent. Newspapers ran with it. The name stuck, and almost overnight, original campfire story became America's favorite cryptid, beating out the Jersey Devil and, well, frankly, anything Florida's ever produced. Why'd it catch on so hard? Because it offered something rare. A mystery you could theoretically go find yourself. Not a ghost, not a UFO hovering just out of camera range. A flesh and blood animal, allegedly walking through the forest that regular people could hike into, assuming that they packed snacks and didn't immediately regret every life choice that led them there. If there's one piece of footage that built the modern Bigfoot myth, it's this one. October 1967. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin are riding through Bluff Creek, the same neighborhood as that original footprint, when they say they saw it. A large, dark, bipedal figure strolling through a clearing like it owned the place, which, statistically, it might. Patterson grabbed his camera. What he got was less than a minute of shaky 16mm film, the found footage genre before found footage was even cool. But that minute has been studied, frame by frame, for almost 60 years by people with far more patience than me or you have. Supporters point to the way the figure moves, a stride, and muscle flex. They argue that no 1967 costume could fake, mostly because 1967 costume technology peaked at, well, a guy in a gorilla suit from a costume shop. Skeptics point to a man named Bob Hieronymus, who decades later claimed he was the one in that suit. He's never fully proven it. Nobody's fully disproven it either. Everyone just sort of shrugs and moves on with their life. Then there are the footprints, cast after cast, some showing detail down to the dermal ridges, texture that looks disturbingly like skin, and not at all like something carved by a bored teenager in a woodshop class in a garage. And the sounds. Recordings researchers have collected in the field. Low, guttural calls that don't cleanly match any known North American animal, though they do bear a passing resemblance to my neighbor's snoring. Oh, and Bigfoot isn't alone. Head down to Florida wetlands and locals will tell you about the skunk ape. Same basic profile, same swamp Florida puts everything else in. And one very specific detail witnesses can't stop bringing up: the smell. Apparently it's unforgettable. Nobody's pitched a kennel line yet, but the branding writes itself. It's not just Bigfoot and his swampy Florida cousin. Depending on where you live, you've probably got your own regional flavor. The Pacific Northwest claims the most sightings by far. Washington State alone has logged over 600 reported encounters, more than any other state in the country, which either means that something's out there or the Pacific Northwest just has a lot of trees and a lot of imagination. Canada's got a Sasquatch too, obviously, plus a lesser-known cousin called the Wendigo. That one leans more folklore horror than large hairy hiker. Even the Himalayas have their own version, the Yeti. Bigfoot's mountaineering cousin, who apparently prefers altitude and the cold weather. The pattern's the same, everywhere. remote wilderness, isolated witnesses, and just enough force to make maybe feel possible. Here's the problem scientists keep coming back to, and it's not a fun one. Population math. For a species to survive across generations, you need dozens, maybe hundreds of breeding individuals. An animal that size, that widespread, and yet somehow it's left behind 0 bones, 0 bodies, 0 solid DNA. In 60 years of looking, Bigfoot apparently has better luck avoiding evidence than most people do their in-laws. That's the sticking point for most wildlife biologists. Not impossible, but deeply, statistically unlikely. So what are people actually seeing out there? Black bears standing upright are the leading theory from a distance. In a bad light, a bear on its hind legs lines up eerily well with eyewitnesses' sketches. Turns out most of us are not, in fact, trained wildlife trackers. We're just people who watch one too many nature documentaries and now feel qualified. And yes, hoaxes are part of the story too. Costumed stage footprints, guys chasing 15 minutes of fame at the expense of true believers, and at least one guy who's probably still hasn't told his wife. But even now, with drones, trail cameras, and a phone in every single pocket on the planet, the sightings haven't stopped, which either means Bigfoot is real, or he's just really, really good at reading assignments about where the cameras are pointed. So is Bigfoot a surviving relic of a species we don't understand yet? A misleading bear seen through 60 years of folklore and one very committed rumor mill? Or just a story too good for anyone to let die? Maybe that's exactly why it's lasted this long. Not because it's been proven, but because it's never been fully disproven either. If you like this one, smash that like button and subscribe. It generally helps more than you think. Until next time, I'll see you on the next adventure.